Welcome to my video channel. It's been a little while since I've done any of these videos, so I'm a little rusty. Forgive me if I make some mistakes, but it's been a while, so I'm going to have to catch back up again. This video that I'm doing here is about airplanes, and it's mainly about the airplanes that fly over my neighborhood. We're located close to an airport, almost 4 miles out, but we're on the approach path. So we get the planes coming through here. They're pretty low, they happen to be pretty loud. And about 6 months ago, I was at a planning commission meeting, and they voted to bring in a new plane from American Airlines. So it's a large regional jet, and it's the biggest one that's flown through here. They're having to make modifications to the airport in order to accommodate it. But we were trying to vote against it because we really don't like the big planes flying through here. They're quite loud. And because of the low altitude, it's pretty ominous when one flies by. So, that's been a concern. Of course, the airport was here before I moved here, so I know there's an airport. I realize that, it's not it's kind of, taken that you can have planes. But this is a little different. It's a bigger plane. We have a lot of general aviation traffic here, so a lot of people are learning how to fly, and or are getting their time in the small prop planes. And so you'll see on a weekend anywhere from 10 to 12 planes in the air at any one time doing different maneuvers, doing traffic plan, touch and goes. And then sometimes they'll just come in and they'll just fly by and, do a flyover. They don't actually land, they just kind of come through the area. But you'll see in the video here that there is a lot of traffic on a busy day. And then also at the beginning of the video, I do a thing where the American Airlines, it's an Embraer E-175 regional jet that comes in, and it has to do this long S-bend maneuver. And I don't know if they're doing that because of altitude or if it's because they're trying to slow down for traffic. It's kind of hard to tell. I've seen another one where they're doing a big circle right before they hit the fix, so they came in at about 5,500 feet, and then they do the circle around, then they drop down to about 3,300 feet. Seems like quite a bit. A couple thousand feet, of descent. So it could be that they're just trying to figure out what's the best way to land the plane, so testing different methods, to try to make it comfortable for everybody. So that could have been one of them. I was told that the circle maneuver was kind of not easily done in large planes, so I was kind of surprised to see that. And then also I've noticed that some of the traffic is, the traffic pattern is normally a right-hand pattern here, which is not typical, but they run a right-hand pattern, and then about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they flipped it over to a left-hand pattern. They had everybody flying left-hand for a while. Coincidentally, about the same time, this big jet starts coming in, so I don't know if that was related or not. And then I was also getting alerts from the flight radar system for low-flying aircraft, and I thought that was unusual because it happened on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, one weekend, and then stopped, so I wasn't doing it anymore. And then the next weekend, it does it again. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're getting low flying alerts, and I don't know explanation for it. And so I actually contacted someone and asked them if they knew what was going on. And I don't know if that got anywhere, but this week we don't have these low flying alerts. So it could be that it just had something to do with the barometric pressure at the time. Maybe it was a setting, or, I was thinking maybe the GPS is off, like the signal was getting off. We were having a lot of problems with our wireless system. So it could be that it had something to do with the sun flares that we were receiving. So maybe that's part of it. But it's kind of strange to see it dropping like 200 feet. And all the planes too, it wasn't just like one or two. Every plane that went through was lower. So that was just something. But in this video, you'll see first is the American Airlines E-175 jet. I'll just kind of show the approach for that, and then just some of the traffic afterwards. And I'll do a little shot from a video that I captured that day. Not a screenshot, but actually just captured a video going over the water tower to see what the elevation is. And you'll see I used my new 30-degree technique on that. And on some of these I have to tip the, rotate the image or the video a little bit so I can get a level view. And then once I rotate it and I set everything up, then it'll give us an altitude. And it seems to be pretty close. You know, it's hard to tell because what are we judging it by, the barometric altitude or the GPS altitude? So, you know, I think when a jet's flying at 130, 140 knots, it's going to be hard to keep up with the altitude range if it's GPS. But apparently that's more accurate. So a lot of people are using that kind of navigation system, and hopefully it is, because they fly through here really low. I get them pretty close. I seen them to where it looked like they were probably about 300 feet above the water tower range. So that's water tower is 710 feet. So right about 1,000 feet. You're just right at 300. 1,000 foot 10. And I see them about 1,050. So we're recording them like that, but. I haven't actually gotten too many videos of them being that low. I do have a couple, but not too often. And it seems to be only when the weather conditions change that they have to drop down below the clouds or something. But I wouldn't say that it's unsafe. It's just odd. So I'm not a pilot. I'm just a spectator, and I'm not doing this for money. There's no money in this for me. I don't have a project that somebody's paying me for. What it is that my community went to the PAC meeting and was in protest of the AA airlines, and then I started looking into stuff, and I was like, oh, well, I didn't know. I don't know how planes fly. I have a brother that's a pilot. He knows, but I have no clue. I'm like, okay, I really don't know what's going on up there. So I'm trying to watch the planes from the ground. So it's a ground perspective. So, if it sounds a little goofy, you're a pilot, some of the stuff I say may be not real typical, or my terminology's off, or I think they could do something else. I found that I was probably wrong most of the time when I'd say stuff like that, so I try to avoid that. But this is just actually just things I've recorded. So, again, I'm just doing it for the community, just for interest. So if you have any comments, please leave them. And then also, we got the subscribe buttons and the like buttons. So if you can hit those, that'd sure be helpful. I really appreciate that. And let's get to the video. And you can watch that. And then if you like it at the end, then great. Okay, so this is the first video. Is the showing the S-bend maneuver, so normally they'd come straight in, so we would get these planes, usually it's going to be a private jet or something, and it has to come from a pretty high altitude. There's some mountain ranges to the east of us, and so they're dropping down quite rapidly, and I think for maybe a passenger airliner that might be a little too fast. So it could be that what they're doing is just trying to figure out ways to drop the altitude. They need more space for it. So that S-bend could have been them dropping altitude. It could also be that the air traffic controller said, hey, we need you to slow down. We've got a lot of traffic. Trying to sequence these guys in. Can you reduce your airspeed? Can you give me something? So I don't know. That seems like a procedure. They can do go-arounds or different things. I've heard about a stack where they'll have planes flying in different levels through the doing a pattern. So they're doing a pattern flight around the airport, waiting to get their okay to land, and they could be at different levels when they're doing that. So they'll have to come down and descend as they come around. there's some of the bigger airports in Europe that have to do that. But I haven't seen it before here on this stuff, and I've been watching it pretty closely for years, and monitoring the aircraft and stuff going over probably since 2018, you know, and I really got focused on it from this event with the Planning Commission. But before that, I was just kind of being a novice about it, not really caring much. I just pick up the phone and look at, wow, that was a big plane that flew over. What kind of plane was it? And so I got a lot of different planes, you know, and kind of get an idea of what's flying and what's not, and that kind of stuff. So I got some videos too. I probably got 100 different videos of planes flying by, you know. So some are unique. Most of them are the same kind of Cessna jet, you know, airplane, or this little Cessna prop plane, the 172s. Sometimes you'll see a 152 or a 210. So that was the AA plane coming in, and then we'll have here's the video for the actual plane going by. This next one is just traffic that's just flying around the airport. And it was just a really busy day, so I thought it was kind of unusual to see so many planes. So I thought, well, what are these planes doing? So you could sit there and click on them as they're going around. You can kind of get a route, you know, indication of the route and doing that. So I'm using the flight radar to develop that kind of stuff. And I just think that's pretty interesting. And there was a 310 flying around the other day, and it was doing some kind of really tight formation. It must have flown for a couple of hours over the airport, but it has these grid lines that are like really close together. And I thought there must be like taking some video surveillance or something, maybe for to get a picture of the construction that's going to take place. So they may have to do it that way, so they can get a LiDAR sensor or something and do that. And with the flight radar, you could go in and download a file for the Google Alert, Google Earth, and look at the elevations that way, location of the planes, and how they're coming in. You could even make a video of it if you follow the route. You know, if you wanted to see what the route was that they took, you can do that in the Google Earth. You know, so that's another tool that we use pretty often. As far as a lot of the stuff that I'm using now, I'm just translating it from my drafting business. You know, I do drafting for right now. I'm doing residential stuff, but I was doing a lot of electrical, mainly high voltage systems, and we did a lot of solar work, you know, and that was pretty interesting. I worked under a guy for about 10 years who was one of the top utility engineers, and he's pretty active in the high voltage community. And so, like, for him, I would just do small stuff, but once in a while we'd have pole line projects or substations or something. And it's pretty interesting, you know, it's different, and always paid pretty well and everything, but sometimes the time schedule is a little bit hard for me to keep, so I decided I was just going to go kind of retired, and here I am making videos, you know, so we'll see how it goes. And you can see somebody in the background there, that's my wife poking around, the shadow. All right.